Good morning. Welcome to
Good morning.
Redefining. How are you, Barbara?
I am very well. How are you?
I'm great. The sun is actually shining today, so I'm really quite happy. And it's supposed to be in the plus, so let's hope that that
Yes,
happens.
here too. Yes, very lovely. Very nice. Been out already for the morning walk.
Love it. Love it.
Yeah,
Welcome to
good.
Redefining the Significance of You, time for you, by you, because of you. My name is Denise Drinkwalter, and I'm an empowerment life coach supporting women around the world to lean in and realize the importance of you. The goal of this channel is to provide you, the viewer, some takeaways that will actually help you shift, change, reevaluate, and become more aware of what is truly possible. We have a variety of guests who will be sharing their life experiences that have helped them become the incredible human beings that they are today. Every one of us, sometime in our lives, when we've had that infamous free time, frequently have felt guilty, embarrassed, and or wrong for taking out time for ourselves. And we are absolutely here to help change that and support you to see what is possible for you when you take time for you, by you, because of you. It is an absolute pleasure to introduce Barbara Watson. Barbara and I actually first met during a global speakathon and we connected immediately. Barbara is a seasoned educator with over 20,000 teaching hours to her credit. Barbara designs content and courses to accord pedagogically with adult learning principles. She's published in leading peer-reviewed academic journals such as Health Law Review, Canadian Journal of Law and Society, and is a retired registered nurse and a holistic, intuitive guiding energy learning with degrees in graduate work in psychology and law. She has been dubbed, I love this, toolkit teacher by her students. Barbara started in the 1980s, over 30 years ago, with a focus on meditation and the relaxation response. Then she went on to develop her own course, launched her own business, Domain Incorporated, in which she trained women at 3 different levels: basic, advanced, and trained them to be instructors. She has trained 44 women in order to teach the course she's created. She has impacted over 30,000 people. I could go on and on and on, but I want to talk with Barbara. So, welcome. It is so great to have you here today. I am honored to be in your presence. I love
Well,
everything you have been doing.
thank you so much. It is an honor to be here. I'm very privileged to be here. Looking forward to our chat very much.
Right? Tell
Yeah.
me, what is something that you find with everything that has gone on recently around the globe, around the world? What is something that you find is so imperative for us as humans to try and start to ground ourselves again? Deflect from the exterior and start to actually tune into everything's going to be okay. Is there anything in particular that comes to your mind that you can say, hey, Denise, if your listeners take this little golden nugget, they're going to be starting on the right path?
Oh, yes. Thank you for that question. You actually answered it to some degree in your question. But let's go back to the basics. Breathe. If
Mm,
there's one thing that we need to do, we, the global we, it's breathe, pause, take a breath, take another breath, breathe in and follow your breath. In other words, focus on it because, as you just said, Denise, getting into that inner self, that inner peace, follow your breath and focus on your breath will take you there. That's easy to say. but it's not necessarily easy to do. It takes practice. It is a practice.
I love
So,
that.
but breathe and then move into some of those higher energy levels that we talk about. I bring people to the higher levels of unconditional love and joy and peace using the Hawkins scale of human consciousness, which we've done for we, meaning my husband and I, when he was teaching as well with his groups. We use the Hawkins scale to bring people up to these higher energies. A lot of people in this world now are seem to be living at the lower energies, the fear, the anger. The Hawkins scale takes posits that people are on this scale from anywhere from number 1 to 1,000 is the top of it. And it's very well known. He's a physician, professor, a scientist, a researcher, a spiritual leader, a mystic, many, many things. What I do is bring people up to the level of 500 and above in the Hawkins scale. 500 is the unconditional love. Back in, a few years ago, Keating, another spiritual leader, Father Thomas Keating, some of your audience may have heard of him, measured, and this scale is measurable, said measured the average person on the earth as being at 207 on this scale. The 200 levels are the levels of fear and anger
Mm,
and other things. There are emotions associated with different levels of the scale. So I do find that, and just breathing helps sometimes to bring people back into flow.
mm,
There was an ancient Indian sage who said that our life is like a river and we flow with it. And we're in flow. You may have heard of that phrase. But people will very often find rocks in the river or it narrows, and suddenly they find themselves up on one bank, the anger bank, the other bank, the fear bank. And part of our job is to get back off those banks, back into the river, down from fear, down from anger, back into flow. Part of what I do is teach people with the anger, and people will say that. They're angry, they know, and it's obvious. Turn your anger into anchor. You mentioned grounding,
mm.
anchoring, similarly. Anchoring, think of a boat and the rocky shoreline, and it's out there, and there's lots of wind and waves and whatnot, and it throws down its anchor. So it's safe. Anchoring and grounding, very similar. Turn your fear into fearless and just get back down into flow, moving up to these higher level energies of love and gratitude and joy and peace. 500 and up, love and above, will
Mm,
help you. And I really recommend daily practices of that. Starting your day, ending your day, and any time during your day. So
amazing.
that's a lot of what I do, and it's in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Simple process, not always easy to achieve,
I
but
love what
with
you're
coaching
saying,
and with help.
right? I love what you're saying.
Yeah.
Simple, but not always easy to implement. Isn't that the truth, right? Where okay, I can do breathing, but what happens as we breathe? Our mind decides to take over and we're thinking about all these other things. So we're no longer probably focusing on the breathing when our mind is taking over. Would that be true?
Oh, yes. Oh, definitely. Yeah, the thoughts will come. The
Okay.
thoughts will come. There is no way around it. We
Okay.
process around 80,000 thoughts a day, and they come and they go. And many of them are repeats. How often do you find yourself thinking about the same thing over and over
Mm,
and over again? I teach a technique. I teach several techniques, but
yeah.
one is called fish as thought. And that is to imagine yourself in a glass bottom boat, and you're looking at the glass bottom. There are fish there. Fish come into your view and they go out of your view. You don't resist them. You don't try to shove them out. You just witness them. You acknowledge them and you let
Mm,
them go. You release them. And they have big fish, small fish, colored fish, striped fish, whatever. They're all different. But you just let them come and you let them go. And using that fish as thought technique, you do the same with your thoughts. The ego
Mm,
is part of us that tries to keep us safe. And that's part of its job. I mean, it's not the ego's fault. It's trying to keep us safe. And it will bring these thoughts. Oh, you don't want to do that. You want to do this. You know, you're safer here. It's trying to keep you safe. But in reality, it's keeping you small. Because when people learn to meditate and reduce their stress, that helps to enlarge their comfort zone. So they go beyond the ego, and then the comfort zone enlarges. And then it enlarges again and
mm,
again. Again, it's not always a linear process. It could be
right,
2 steps forward, 1 step back, and here we go again.
right.
But it's there and it does continue if you are committed.
I love that. I love what you just said there. And I think it's really important for those of you who are watching on replay or live. It is a process. I'm hearing
Yes.
journey. It's not, there is no, what we used to say at work was there is no finish line. Because if there's a finish line, then we're no longer learning. And if we are doing this for you, by you, because of you, we have the power and the tools that Barbara can teach you to show you what is possible, right? As part of that grounding and tuning into who you really are, opening up. And is it something, Barbara, that yes, we talk about process, but is it something that anybody can fit into a busy lifestyle? Because we're all so busy, right?
We're all busy. And one of the things you find is that with meditation in particular, stress is part of stress management. That actually can create more time for you. In meditation, ultimately, we move beyond time and space. We also move beyond causality, but all that's a little bit more advanced. But we move beyond time and energy moves beyond space. It's all energy. And we can create that time. Think of someone who is out swimming and wants to dive, and the diver goes down in the water, down to that deep piece down at the bottom of the bay or the ocean, wherever they are. And they bring that piece back up because they have to take a breath. And then they go down, more piece, and bring it back up.
Ah,
In meditation, I will teach that and then turn it on its head so that in meditation, we're rising in awareness. We're getting that peace and we bring it back to our life. And then we go again and we bring it back. So we are bringing that peace back to us. It creates so much more time, so much more energy. So taking the time to do it is not linear time.
right.
By the time you're in meditation, it is a divine time and it intersects with our linear time, but only in the present moment.
Mm,
So again, we're teaching present moment awareness. Be
beautiful.
here now. So
Amazing.
there's lots of testimonials to this, and you can see, but people do need to they don't need to know their deepest why to get started in this.
Oh,
They know they have a reason to come and start to do it. And then the realization kicks in that they can do more. And I've just heard them, people have told me, I just have so much more perspective now. It's like climbing a tree. There are many things. You can map that onto the Hawkins scale. And when you're down at the bottom of the tree, you can see very well what's down there, maybe a rock or some flowers. As you climb that tree, you see more and more. And from the top, you've got such a great perspective. That rock's still down there, but you see so much more and you get just more of a view of what's actually happening in your life. And the rock may not have quite as much significance when you get that greater perspective. Depends on the situation.
I absolutely love how you make this so concrete. Thank you for providing the visuals as I'm listening to you about the tree, the boat. I'm like, I get it. You make it so understandable. I've talked to so many people and I'm like, I could never do that because I wouldn't even know where to start. You are making this so concrete that we can certainly understand the capacity it has when you guide us in what you are so, so good at doing, which is all of this work. helping us to take time for ourselves, by ourselves, because of ourselves, right? You help support so that people can really tune into who they are. And I love how you shared it's not about your why, it's about your who. It's about who you are and what you can do within
Yeah.
all of you to really ground yourself and know yourself in this universe. Oh, I love
Yes.
that. So
Yeah.
powerful. Thank you so much for sharing such depth in such a short period of time. I love, right? Your students talked about your toolkit teacher. You just demonstrated that right off the hop. Thank you so much for such deep understanding so quickly. What
It
problems
is
do
a
you
pleasure.
what problems do you help with your clients? Where do your clients struggle? I know there's years and years and years, but what would you say if somebody were like, if I were struggling with it, I wonder who she actually helps.
Well, in broad categories, generally speaking, people have come to me for either health reasons or relationship reasons. Health
Okay,
reasons could be different types of health issues. It's all totally confidential, of course,
sure.
but right up to, maybe chronic health issues, um, different things for which their doctors have referred them to me. And I get physicians themselves taking my courses as well. And I've
Mm,
had psychologists taking my courses and priests. I mean, these people do come in to learn about these things, but they will send their patients as well, as they say, their clients, to learn to meditate. And
mhm,
in all of my courses, and I have about 10 of them out there, in all of them, there's a place for women to learn to meditate. So there might be something like high blood pressure, for example, that someone will, and in fact, there is quite often that people will show up with.
yeah.
And they're working with their physicians. Never, ever try to do this without your physician. I work with your physician if you're trying to address this. But coming to meditation is part of what can be helped there. And relationship wise, I tend to get people who are, sometimes things have been cast in concrete from childhood.
Mm,
People, I recall one woman, for example, saying her sister was always trying to take control, and this had been going on since childhood. And it's what people, one thing people realize is it's not so much about the sister and the control, it's
mm,
about what they can do. So it's that, or it's daughters or daughters-in-law who are, I have one, for example, again, all confidential,
yeah,
who's more than one, who just is not being allowed to see her grandchildren anymore.
yeah,
And this has been going on for years, and you probably run into this sort of
yeah.
thing in your work as well. And it's not about that so much as it's about the reaction. On this Hawkins scale, there is a forgiveness level, which is
Mm,
above the fear and anger level, but below the unconditional love level. And people need to get beyond forgiveness to be able to rise higher into love and gratitude and to have that inner peace. And so bringing people through that forgiveness level is sometimes a long process for some
yeah,
people, but that's an imperative process on the journey. And
love
the
it.
journeys are all different, but
It-
that's part of what's needed.
I love that.
Did
A
I answer your
variety.
question?
Absolutely, absolutely. You provided the
Good.
idea that it doesn't seem to matter because we are all experiencing life differently. You can meet them where they are, see where their needs are, and help them access the Hawkins scale in a way that will tune in for who they are and what they need. Brilliant. Love it. Thank you for that. Is there
Thank
one
you.
thing you would love the audience to be able to take away from our conversation this morning?
Oh, yes. One thing is hard. We talked about breathing. Let's talk about gratitude because on the Hawkins scale, as I said, love resides at level 500. This, by the way, is a logarithmic scale, but it has value without that logarithmic aspect. So just to mention that in case some of you are aware of that. Love is at 500, gratitude and grace are at 510. And then joy's at 600, peace at 700, enlightenment beyond that. And you can map other things onto it too, like Maslow's hierarchy of
Mm,
needs. But gratitude will bring you to that level 510. So a daily gratitude practice is something I highly recommend to everybody starting on day one. If you just begin your day when you wake up, before you do anything, and I do this myself to this day, go through, just give yourself three things you can be grateful for every day. Just think of three things. And no matter what's happened in your life, you've got through it. And there's something there. It may be that you're grateful for the lessons you've learned, but there are three things you can be grateful for. And do this every day. And if you start tomorrow or start today, start later today, then by the end of the month, you're going to have close to 100 things on your gratitude list. And you just keep going because those things can be broken down from one thing to another. You can be grateful for everything around you, for the earth, for the sky, for the creatures of the sea and sky, for your home, for the fact that you have a roof over your head and food on the table. And you can be grateful for everything that ever was, everything that is now. And if you develop that gratitude practice, you will be bringing yourself to level 510 on that scale. And you can do it throughout the day.
mm.
Anytime you need to, stop, take a breath, and go into a gratitude practice. What am I grateful for? Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for this. So that's what I would leave you with. A
That's fantastic.
gratitude practice is wonderful.
I love that. Thank you. You've given us specific, actionable steps. Toolkit Queen at the ready. She's
You go.
given us exactly what we can do. It does not have to be overcomplicated, and you can do it for you, by you, because of you every single day. Thank you so much for not only the conversation, but for the specific strategies you've been able to share, because anybody could absolutely start implementing them today and start to learn how to be present. I love this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's an honor and a privilege. Thank you so much.
We want to make sure that people know how to find you. So let's talk about, and we'll put this in the show notes as well so people can grab it. But there is a Vibe Up High Energy Wheel of Wellness, I understand, that's going to be available for people to access to learn more. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, Vibe Up High Energy Wheel of Wellness is the business that I've had for many years. And within that, I have several courses.
Perfect.
And the Silencing Stress course is my signature course there. It's just
Mm,
been revamped, updated, etc. It's a 3-month program. Some of the other courses are shorter than that.
yeah.
They're all accessible under Vibe Up High Energy Wheel of Wellness. The Silencing Stress course right now is being offered as well at a very low rate, a fraction of the value that's in it, until Friday, this Friday, midnight,
Yeah.
my time. I'm
Yeah.
in Canada, Eastern Daylight Time. And then the cost will go up, but it's always available there. And it allows people to create their own personalized stress management plan for peace. It's based on
Mm,
chakras. Hawkins is in there, Maslow's in there, different things, the aura, the energy field outside of us, which is all around us. Western scientists call it the biofield now.
yeah.
Lots of
Okay.
scientific evidence on the biofield. And all of that stuff is in there. So you create your own plan. And as your circumstances change, it's lifetime access. You can go back and do your root cause assessment, again with coaching. There's coaching involved to
Yeah.
help you with this, and just see where you need to make differences. There are quizzes and assessments and a work plan and workbooks and videos and case studies, all kinds of things in there. So that is a good place for people to start if they're interested. They could also just email me if anybody has any questions. That would be fine as well.
And they can email you at shemeditates@bell.net.
Correct. That's
Okay.
it. Yes. Thank you.
Perfect. Perfect. What an
And I will
honor.
get
What an honor. We could go on and on because I have so many questions. I'm like, oh, But we do have to depart. It has been an absolute honor and privilege to have you here. And I know that you will have a lot of people replaying this, making sure they've got the ideas down that you've shared so eloquently and so simply. And thank you for being on our show today. It is a privilege to have you.
Likewise, on my end, it is a privilege to be here. Thank you.
Have a great day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.